All right. Jesus. A little subdued because I was outside walking for I think 2, 3 hours. So you'll have to excuse me if I seem a little non-energetic today or tonight rather. Yeah, it's been a really obnoxious week. I mean, between the votes this past Tuesday and some of the stupid stuff people have typed in certain places, I have not been that excited. I'm really glad out of all the stuff I put up this week to have put up the California's excrement employers video because the purpose of that series is to show the perpetual applications that I put into place and how they either get completely ignored or they tell you thanks but no thanks, and all the roundabout ways that they do that. Oh, we reviewed it and we were so happy that you applied, but unfortunately we won't go forward, blah blah blah. And I'm gonna do a third one next month. I'm gonna try to do maybe at least 30 places this time because I don't like it when it's in the 20s because people can say you only did 2 dozen. So I want to try to have it be 3 dozen. Um, I did have someone who asked me if they thought I was going to quit with the applying, and I said I'm not going to quit, not because I think if I keep trying I'm going to get something. I'm not going to quit because that allows others to set the narrative. See, when you continuously put yourself out there, um, and you have the proof to validate that fact, it's a lot harder for someone to be lazy and say, oh well, this person didn't get this because they quit. Now they say that about the chick stuff, but that's not an essential thing. I don't need that to survive. So there's a big difference with those two. I'm more content with that one being misrepresented because that's going to always be misrepresented. you know People they like to play that little dumb game, and that's their right. So they're not right, but it's their right. So they can do that if they want to. I am going to try to do the Adam Schiff documentary. I've got a little bit of a script, but it's still not as nice as I would like. So I'm gonna, because at first I was gonna have it end with, because Ruben recommended it should end with the end of Obama's tenure, but because the impeachment crap is over, and that's probably going to be the highlight of his warmongering evil career, I'm a lot more likely to want it ended there. But I'm trying to figure out if I want to, because God, it's so difficult with these things because part of me wants to do at least a senator that's up for reelection this year because you know it would be nice to have that out as like a summary of their whole term in the Senate so far, or terms, whatever. So again, we're still not that far into the year, so we can. I'll probably be able to do both. I just have to decide which one first. Because out of the current senators, I want to do Manchin, I want to do Collins, I want to do, obviously Sanders at some point, but I'm waiting for this election cycle to be over. I I wrote the script for the McConnell one. There's a whole bunch of people that are good candidates for what I'm trying to do here, but it has to be done in a certain way. I don't want it to just be some summarized crap that you would see somewhere else. That's why when I was doing the hypothesis for a potential Obama one, that thing could be 4 or 5 hours long because we're going to go with like with this foreign policy, we're going to have country by country. We're going to have the surveillance state stuff, his reelection, all that. So, God, his career before he became president was just so much better than like the stuff that actually happened when he got the power. Because remember, well, not remember, but with his library, there was a controversy about the fact that some people were going to lose their homes for the for it to be installed in Illinois. I think it's in Chicago. Don't quote me on that. Um, and it was really ironic because it's like you kick people. What was it? Over 4 million people out of their houses with your horrible Treasury secretary, and you're not even in office anymore, and you're still causing damage. What a terrific sequence. That's the wonderful president that everybody thinks. I'm gonna try to find a way to squeeze a clip of Jimmy critiquing him. There's this one clip I really love, and I'm gonna put it very close to the end of the video, and I'm going to probably use the one where they're talking about the woman that got her arm blown off because I do love that clip. It's really good. Oh man, somebody left. I'm so sad. Time to go slit my wrist. There is a crisis in Wall Street. Oh, what's the crisis? Oh, yeah, whenever they lose their oil, forget all the homeless people. That oil is the most important thing, according to them. They won't start a war on poverty, but they'll start a war on some oil. That's how you know the US is just the most backwards place ever. When like even people who aren't like have no agreement on positions do like they both side with the idea that the elite only care about themselves and will trade loads of human lives for some advancement of whatever their position is. That's the funniest thing in the world. It's like we're all just united in our disdain for these people. I got this shadow. That's a little bit better. Well, it's darker, but I'll manage. Nobody comes on here to look at me and my beauty or any of that trash. Yeah, Ruben, I'm gonna try to do the Schiff and the Obama documentaries simultaneously because I'm on my last leg. So let me make that before they knock my last leg off. Another economy fall, which was already anticipated, but the coronavirus outbreak may change certain directions. Oh, have you seen the top 10 worst mothers video yet? Out of curiosity. Did I just cut my finger? I think that the Kagan Supreme. I was getting all confused. Oh man, that's one of the few things I said I was going to make that was related to a whole bunch of, or just some type of editing that actually came out. I do need to do a video about Jimmy, and one of the videos he did recently that I really liked, where he was talking about how you do all this unity stuff with the DNC, and then it's for nothing. They still try to screw you out of the nomination because that's correct. Sanders did the unity tour with Tom Perez, and you know, just still he wants to screw him out of the nomination. I think that the Kagan Supreme Court judge is the wife of Bob Kagan's brother. Check who he is. Well, you mean Kagan on the Supreme Court? Because I thought you were, when you say Kagan Supreme Court judge, I was thinking that you were referring to her being Chief Justice, which I know is not the case. We know you know better. That's gonna be the term I use. Yeah, there's a Kagan on the court. All right, I'll check. I'll look and see who that is. I'm holding this thing, so I'm kind of incapacitated, and also my phone is being charged as we speak, so they'll have to wait a little bit. I do apologize. I know you really want to know who that was. You wanted me to read it too. I'll do it later. Hell, like we could do it during. Well, I do try to keep a lot of the political stuff out of the Dragon Ball streams, but we could theoretically do it on Monday. Just saying. Oh, by the way, um, the original thing behind doing the documentaries on the presidents was that I was gonna like review the record of each one. It was supposed to be a special thing because I would give my own opinion on it. For the ones after Hoover, so starting with FDR, the format of those was supposed to be a part one, which is their entire life up until they became president, and then a part two, which is the presidency, and then if they, lived for some continuous period after they got out of office, the post presidency would be part three. So like that would be the format for Carter. That would be the format. The only one that I might not do that for is Obama. He could just have one 5, 6 hour video, and I don't even want to guess how many gigabytes that's going to be. That's the worst part about making these, that I have to see how much space I have for it. So we'll find out as we progress with this. I think the shift one's probably going to be an hour or two. Is Bernie Sanders foreshadowing another unity tour when he keeps telling us how Joe Biden can beat Trump when he shows up on TV? Well, look, tomorrow is do or die. He needs to stop doing that, or he can get ready to just get completely annihilated. Which will probably be the case in Florida because the polling over there is showing him being really down. But I wouldn't put it past him that he'll do a bunch of campaigning for him, and then all the little neoliberal clowns are going to say that Sanders is the reason why Biden lost. God damn, man. People just, they say whatever. It's like it doesn't even matter what you do. Just you don't have a right to run against someone that just a couple of weeks ago was a joke. Like before Super Tuesday, he won a single state that he had been polling in first place for some continuous period. And but aside from that, he was considered out of this. People are so stupid, man. And again, I'm not. David did a video about this, which I'll try to see if I can do some response to. Jimmy did a video. If people give valid critiques, I'll still give them credit for it. And they were right that that Sanders should stop trying to say that Biden is his friend. But when you have voters who like they just don't care, so that's the other issue. Like it's half his fault, half the voters' fault. The most diluted and contaminated state in the U.S. But I thought Governor DeSantis was doing a good job. Florida is insanely toxic. Hey, that is an interesting story about DeSantis, just as I'm mentioning him, because he was hated by all the liberals and everybody 2 years ago. And then after he won, it was like some complete transformation. He started appointing Democrats and talking about being bipartisan. And I was like, what the hell? And I guess when you win a race by the grit of your teeth, you try to reach out to the other side. I mean, that is shocking. I need to do a video about him. It's like he's a whole different person. Oh yeah, Rick Scott is Mr. I'm gonna have all these mass shootings while I'm governor and do nothing about it until I'm running for senator, and I suddenly care. I think he had what 5 or 6 of those. He had the nightclub one, the one at the airport, obviously the high school one, the Stoneman Douglas thing. There's a whole bunch of them, but those were toward the latter part of his term. There's probably some other ones I don't remember. Didn't catch as many headlines. So the only one we had over here was San Bernardino, and people still won't let Brown get over that one. Yeah, DeSantis transformed. That man just, I don't know what happened. Now he's one of the most popular governors. They were calling him a racist during the campaign. The dad of one of the Parkland's victims is a good friend of Rick Scott. Well, learn something new every day. That's why I always put the live show under education. It's so informative. I just gained so much knowledge. That's pretty much the point of using that category. I don't even care about the category anymore. I remember uh, all of this stuff was automatically put under comedy because that was something I was trying to do earlier. And then this person was like, "If this video is under comedy, are you just joking about what you're saying?" I'm like, "When I talk about the news and it gets put under comedy because it's an automated thing with the account, nobody questions that news story happened. So why the hell would you question?" Oh, people are so dumb on this website. Let's see, works in some surveillance industry outlet that also, oh, yeah, there we go. That Netanyahu jizz drinking. Yeah, it's so weird to see us like anytime the governors or the state legislators get involved in a national issue, I just want to bomb it because it's always in favor of being friendly to some government that doesn't even need our help. Let the senators handle foreign policy. You can handle matters of the state. Only time they do anything to the state that's significant is hinder free speech. It would be funny if people were participating in BDS and they just didn't say they were. So like you have some company they do stuff with every country except Israel. Like why is that? I don't know. It's just this open secret. Israel and Saudi Arabia need to both be those should be the two states no one does business with. Not states. Well, I mean they technically are states, but countries, regions. I'm just gonna sit in the dark. I'm tired of holding this damn thing. Oh, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, I just said a biblical figure is name in vain, so I'm not going to hell. I'm about to rot. That drink. Okay, Florida has that one neighborhood where pedophiles go to live in. I think that they go live in Florida for the same reason OJ Simpson went to live there. I remember when OJ got out, you had idiots that were saying that his release, because it happened to take place on the same day as the Las Vegas, shooting, the one where the guy went on top and shot 50 something people. They're like, oh yeah, those two things they correlate because they happened on the same day. So really, this is what we're gonna claim is related to each other. And people are dumb. They just start conspiracies about everything. I can't wait for someone to say that this drink is red because I like to take chicks' blood after I do something to them or something. That's gonna be the next conspiracy theory. Oh, not at all. I don't know where you would have thought that. It's neither one of those things. I always saw OJ as just a distraction. Yeah, he's basically after that trial, he was pretty much irrelevant, other than when he actually went to prison. So really, there's been no reason to talk about him since 2007. They just like to put him in stuff now for a throwback. Hey, remember that time 20 years ago that person got off? Yeah, that was so great. I'm trying to remember who it was that was like, you should do a video about Epstein. It's like, everybody's talking about that trash. I'm good. Why would I make a video regurgitating what 10 other people, what hundreds of other people are saying? And it's not even something informative. Like, at least if I did, let's say, I don't know, a climate change video or something, where I could lay out some statistics, maybe other people who support that issue haven't talked about. I was going to sit here and go, I don't believe this person killed himself. It's like, yeah, join the club of people spreading that position around. But like I said, they don't care. They just request stuff and don't even think about it. And be like, this stream is sponsored by Mountain Dew. They're gonna cut me a check right after this. I don't even think I have this monetized either. Is the crazy part. I'm only gonna get like what 2 pennies, some coin. Oh, here we go. Um, no. Well, yeah, technically last week, but not recently, not today. Now, if you saw the haul from yesterday, you would think we got everything with some miscellaneous gathering of items. Like you go into a store, the person says, "We're gonna look for water." There's no water. Let's go get this candy and then this all this other stuff that had nothing to do with anything major. People just buy all kind of random crap. They don't even care, just like whatever. But I saw the pictures online of people buying like 8 rolls or some enormous amount. And this guy was saying they should put a cap on how much you can get, but theoretically, how would they know if you were getting the same amount or if you I don't really see how that's feasible because someone could use all of that in one night just like to troll or whatever. Like, I need some more. And people do all kind of evil stuff. Yeah, they just put a cap on how much you can get. They should have done that like a week ago. It's so stupid. Moron in chief, Ruben. Sticks and stones break our bones, but names aren't supposed to be uttered by us. All right, moron in chief told Japan to postpone the Olympic Games and until next year they refused. Yeah, Japan and China are I have to give them credit. They don't really bend to the US ever. Like they're not, as part of our little evil trinity. So that's the US, Israel, and Saudi Arabia, but they do they have like a respectable kind of relationship where they can't be pushed around like some of these other countries. Like we do what we want. I'm scared of some old virus. Oh, they've been demonetizing people for using the word, and it's kind of funny because um, Pac-Man did a video. He was like, "I'm gonna call this It was some kind of phrase, but I was just thinking to myself, "Oh man, if I don't get my 8 cents off of this video, I don't know how I'm gonna survive." Like I get paid so little, it doesn't even matter. It's so minuscule. Because I thought the whole point of his, thing was with the memberships was so that if YouTube screws with him, he still has an avenue to get paid. So to see him kind of getting worried because he's not getting the extra stuff off of there, it's kind of it's a little, I don't want to say disturbing, but it's disillusioning that you can get a bunch of people to join and then all of a sudden you still have to try to get stuff off of the site because all these other payment options are done purposely to get around YouTube being unreliable. That's why people have PayPal and Patreon and all this other stuff. Indiegogo. Most of the NES classics got mass bought by these same people so that they could sell them back over 5 times the price during their initial release. That was slash is BS. Oh, you know what? Speaking of people selling stuff for much more than they should, like buying things just to sell them for higher, um, you might remember this. Maybe you don't remember the merchandise when Iron Man 2 came out. They have what's called, I guess, a chase figure where they don't produce as many copies as the other stuff, and the chase figure, just for some weird reason, was Whiplash. So you go to the store, you see this movie. Let's say you're a little kid, you want to get the toy of Iron Man and then of the main villain. You can't find it anywhere except online where someone is selling in retailers was like maybe 15, $16, 30, 40, 50. And you're looking at this like, what the hell is wrong with these people? And that was weird. I don't know whose decision it was to make the main villain the chase figure. That was like the dumbest marketing decision ever. There was this guy who bought up all the hand sanitizer in all these little towns and tried to sell it online for ridiculous price, but eBay and Craigslist isn't letting them sell it. So it's a guy and then it's a them. You should stop using all these terms, these incorrect terms to refer to him by. So no, he just sitting there with so now he's just sitting there with thousands of hand sanitizers. At least he won't run out. It looks like what it is most likely the case for lack of toilet paper in stores. They are making Iron Man villain figure collectibles for toilet paper. At ease. Oh, it's that guy that always giggles that got had the divorce where he wasn't online. He wasn't on YouTube for a few weeks because his wife took his computer to the pawn shop. Yeah, you vanished for a while, Envoy. Just got out the shower. Well, I appreciate that you feel comfortable enough to notify me about your bathing activities, I guess. Well, I'm not. That's one of those few times I'm not going to agree with what Ruben wrote. I mean, I think relationships in general, especially the romantic ones, are a scam. But I'm not going to say that because marriage actually the rates for that have gone down. If anyone's noticed, so it seems a lot less like one because of how fewer people are having it happen. At least it's not a scam if they sign a prenuptial agreement so that people can keep their own stuff. Everybody's exchanging greetings and waving at each other. I still haven't decided if I want tomorrow's the stream tomorrow to be on either Krillin or Piccolo. I'm just gonna probably flip a coin. I'm gonna make some spaghetti soon. Oh, I had some of that earlier. What a coincidence. Hey, I guess great minds think alike, huh? I feel so close to Envoy with our spaghetti. It was all right, I guess. I didn't really see there's anything special. It's just pasta. Yeah, I'm trying to map out when I'm gonna do this damn video because I have to clear up the space. I gotta write the script. Gotta get the clips. Gotta sit down for several hours to record my parts of it. It's gonna be a really it's gonna be one of those videos that pushes you to the limit. And I remember when I did the old work one, I did that overnight to like work on it so quickly because I was thinking, oh, maybe if this comes out right when he gets out, I can get some views off of it. Nope. So now I'm gonna take my time with all that stuff where I have to edit it. That's gonna be my new mentality. I do have a like I mentioned before. I think earlier in this, I have a voice actor video that I'm gonna put up as early as tomorrow, as late as Tuesday. Yeah, the only one of those presidential candidates I wouldn't go anywhere near as far as making a video in that capacity about them is Buddha Trash because I want to pretend he doesn't exist. I don't even say his name. That's the only one that has some persistent name, like nickname by me that where I never call them by their name ever. That man doesn't exist here. And if I did a video on him, it would be called "The Fall of Buddha or the Rise and Fall of Buddha Trash." Never using his real name. We'll just keep calling him that. Hey, Ruben, do you remember that TYT before Trump ran for president last time? They had a ban on his face. Like they wouldn't cover him, and they had his face blocked when they would do stories about him, where they were like he was so much in the news. What's crazy is I'm actually just getting over a cold. Well, I hope you feel better. What about John Delusion, who his dad endorsed Bernie? No, Delaney's dad endorsed Sanders. That's just like what's her name? The actress, the one that whatever her name is, the one that's dating Booker. Booker endorsed Biden, and then she endorsed Sanders. Now that was comedic as well, but there's no way Delaney's dad. No, you better send me a link of that. I want to see what this man said. That reminds me of that one time where Comey's dad was like, "I'm tired of Trump talking about my son." I was just like, what the hell? We got this multi generation distaste for the president. It was really funny. Yeah, that's her name. Well, she only endorsed Booker because she thought she could be first lady, and and that's how that turned out. Are you sure it was just a cold? That's the thing. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't have a headache or cough or muscle pains. I just had, oh God. Um, they say a majority of cases are kind of mild and you might not even realize you had it. Oh, runny nose isn't a symptom. You're good. It's fever and cough. Oh, I could have sworn I heard somebody else coughing earlier today. Somebody here, someone was coughing earlier. I'm not going to say who it was. Just hope they're not infected. Have this ominous warning. Okay, Kellyanne's husband being a resistance fraud. And he's just another dude that doesn't stand for anything. You know that. All those resistance people are just Trump bad, must complain. a terrible fever and cough like 2 weeks ago. I probably had that. That what? I'm gonna pretend I didn't read that. I'm gonna cover those words with my mouse. You know what's also crazy? Shows how was it how easy it is to cause mass hysteria. People just buying up toilet paper and whatnot. Yeah, they didn't have hysteria when we had, oh, what was it, 78% living paycheck to paycheck, or over 40% of the homeless working but still were nowhere to live. They didn't have hysteria for that. But now that you got this disease that no one's even really catching for the most part, we're just going to keep. And I'm not saying they shouldn't prepare themselves, so I don't want that to be misconstrued. But all this other stuff going on, and they just ignore it. All this stuff that affects them daily, just nothing. I actually never really buy that much toilet paper at a time, so I have to rush out and get some before it was all gone. You are part of the problem. Part of the problem for swearing and for not buying toilet paper when you should have. It's unacceptable. Oh yeah, we gotta see this. The elder Delaney couldn't have endorsed Sanders. That's impossible. I love my son John, but I am endorsing Bernie Sanders because I view Trumpism as an emergency. This has to be some kind of fake. Oh man, dude, the first comment I see is some clown talking about, I want progress too. Hell, I wanted Warren, but first we have to get someone who can take out the trash, and Biden can do the, yeah, whatever, idiot. I just can't believe his dad actually. What the? That is crazy as hell. The only issue is there are old people who truly need it, so it can be seen as selfish. Oh well, everything we do is selfish. But when you get up and you go and get yourself something to eat, you don't think, oh man, what if a homeless person was here to eat this? So I'm just tired of everybody pretending like we're all angels. And then Astro was laughing at something. I don't know what it was. All the people who are actually in danger are gonna be screwed because of everyone else's paranoia. I'm only gonna stock up on cigarettes and liquor. Huh. Dad also still has. Well, maybe he got to keep his because he's not a neoliberal piece of garbage that asks stupid questions and tries to pretend like certain things. Man, let me get off Twitter because they're gonna start playing these damn videos in this link. Let me get off there. So I was just speculating on why the father has hair and the son doesn't. You remember that's like a variation of the two Bushes where the younger one's whole head was gray, but the older one still had mostly brown up until he died. If you recall, probably don't remember. Hey, if I do a documentary on HW, if I ever do one on him, I'm gonna mention that the only mistake he made was reproducing. I don't even care. That's gonna be his one fatal flaw. People get mad to say, "I can't believe you said that about George W." Oh well. I didn't think that much about it either, but sometimes people will take, especially with a lot of the presidents that were in office for 8 years, they'll take a picture of them when they started, a picture of them when they got, toward the end of their tenure, and they always mention how, you know, they progressively were so aged by the office, which I don't believe. I think because like when you look at the positions that they have, where they're just cozy with all these people, I don't buy that they were all so negatively impacted, just thinking about things every day, and this just made all of their stuff go great. No, I'm about 99% sure they would all look the way they look if they had lost the election. Because you can actually look at a lot of the other people who they run against, and they all look like they've aged too. I mean, it's 8 years. What do you expect? People are so dumb. Always got a reason to start up some claim. Like a Ruben said, yeah, I remember. Like he was there. I remember they actually did a an interview together. I think it was in either 2011 or 2012. It's Mountain Dew. Do I have to like put it up to the screen? Let me just stick it up there. But I was going to say, Ruben, that in this interview that the two Bushes did together about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, the older Bush pointed out that he had more non-gray hair than his son. I thought that was funny because that was true. You said it wasn't code red though. Well, I'm sorry. Don't whoop me for it. I made a mistake. You see. What do you think about how the I'm afraid to even say that word after the way these people have been acting is like in Italy and how it's being handled there. Aren't they more civilized than we are where they're not buying a bunch of toilet paper? That's the biggest issue with these viruses that you don't really get to see the uh, the effects of them in other places. Like you'll hear that oh Israel shut down the theaters and they closed down whatever, but you don't see the people really being able to do much of anything. Like there's no big news story about here's how the people in this other country are acting. They have over oh Jesus Christ. Well, they're doing worse than we are apparently. So now that question has been answered. Let's see where this thing is. I just can't believe that happened with Delaney. That is very shocking. You got the son with his stupid years long presidential campaign that amounted to nothing other than a waste of money on the part of everybody that contributed. And then the dad is like, yeah, screw you and your beliefs. I'm going to endorse the other person. Something similar like that happened with a congressional candidate where it was like their whole family endorsed the other person. Now, some of these are just, oh, this stuff gets so insane. With all these relatives and people. So out of that whole field, we have almost half of them endorse Biden. It's like 11 people now. Let's see, Bob Buckland or B. Brian Blair. B. Brian Blair. B. Brian Blair. B. Brian Blair. And then, get out of here with that. Pick some new first letters of words. Those two are former pro wrestlers who became failed politicians. No wonder I hadn't heard of them. I mean, I do like to consider myself rather more acquainted with politicians than most people. So if I haven't heard of you, it's because you probably didn't, do much, or you're from some era much further in the past. See where this is. Yeah, that'd be a fun video to do, like the top 10 most influential families or something like that. 'Cause there's a lot of people that are related to each other that a lot of others don't know about, I would wager. Just a speculation. Where is this fool, man? I don't. But I'm looking at the Hill. They have some new dumb article that came up that I was a little embarrassed to. I don't even know why I still use this website. They keep putting up all these stupid editorials. Okay, now Jackson's a Sanders campaign advisor. And I can't believe they really know each other for 30 years. Jesus. They just take turns running for president. That's what they do. They just one runs 1 year, another one runs the next year. That really is a good strategy if you're friendly with someone and you're both politically interested or have some great ambitions. Because one of the worst things that Warren's ever going to be remembered for is supposedly running a progressive campaign and then uh, you know being friendly to Sanders for most of it, but then when her polling starts going down, he said a woman couldn't win the presidency. That's why he did 14 events for Hillary in 5 days. It all makes sense. Well, that'd be great if like all the progressives got in a little room together and like, I will not run, I will not run, I will not run. They just systematically eliminate it until only one person gets picked by the whole group to endorse or back, thoroughly. Where did Ruben go? He just vanished. Well, I hope he didn't get kidnapped or succumb to the disease. We're gonna do a Ruben tribute video, and it's gonna be all his different messages, or me like saying his name on all kind of different videos or whatever. Since we don't have any actual footage of him, it's like, where did Ruben go? He just vanished. Instead of where's Waldo, it's where's Ruben. Oh, imagine that was his profile picture too, where you just start looking for him. Where did he go? I don't know what all these. What's with the question marks? Are you confused by? Oh, thank God, we were all waiting with bated breath. You left out of here after you told us about the failed politicians. In the words of Lincoln Park, they tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it didn't even matter. Here comes another clown. Sorry, some person that's pulling out. Jesus Christ. Never stop dealing with them. Bob Backlund failed. Or was that Backlund failed to get elected, so that's why you never heard of him. I mean, Paula Jean Swearengin failed to get elected, but I heard of her. You can do significant things as a person in politics that's never been elected to anything. I was confused by. Wait, what did you call him? Oh, thank you for clarifying. No, he brought them up because I was mentioning the political families. So there was a reason, but I might have needed to say that again or a second time just in case you didn't hear it. Oh, oh, typing all those O's, all these O's. Hey, one wasn't enough. You got to type. What is it for? Yeah, Robert Taft is a really significant politician that doesn't have much, really any coverage on any level, unfortunately. Like I'd say, probably out of the ones from the '50s, he's in the top 10 from that particular decade, just as Senate Majority Leader. Yeah, he's a. I wish we could get like he had a biography written of him that was pretty lengthy, but it's not that much stuff, which is a shame because you would think that if you're the son of a president who got elected to some very high position, you would get more coverage, but he doesn't really get that. He was just like a different kind of Republican. He wasn't really into the social programs, but still, like he would veer off. It wasn't. That's why I said that politics before the last maybe 40 years were just such a different thing. Because even a lot of the ones who are supposed to be conservative still had beliefs that I admired or otherwise liked. That's why when I did the Andrew Johnson video, the point of specifying the radical Republicans was to say that they all similarly to the moderate Republicans believed in ending slavery. Just the radical ones wanted to do it sooner and quicker and expedited in all kind of different unconventional ways. Yeah, Cooper probably took me the longest of anybody with some big lineage to figure out that they were, with someone, or rather related to individuals of high significance. Yeah, but that's because he has a different last name, and they don't really. With most of these pundits, it's very rare to actually see their family or any other person that they're related to get brought up ever. Yeah, them too. No, I am trying to get more into the UK politics. They just really kind of disillusioned me after that general election Labour Party blowout. It's not even because of just the result itself, but the fact that they tried to use that to smear the progressives over here. You're going to lose too. I thought that was his daughter, wasn't it? Oh, oh, Ruben's telling me some alternate information. I could have sworn that was his daughter. Maybe somebody else can look it up for me. They can validate my position. Yeah, I think that's his daughter, Ruben. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm incorrect, but let me go look it up. Type it in. Let me see my phone charge yet. Maybe it was. I only saw that they were related. That's fine. I'm not gonna. We don't bite someone's head off for non-purposeful misinformation, for lack of a more wanting term. Check this out. Yep, that's his kid. So I was correct. No, because I knew that he wouldn't do all of that for a niece. That had to be one of his to have him go and kiss Trump's behind so much. Spicer was still way more entertaining though as press secretary. This is the largest crowd ever. Period. I just never thought I'd see that people would argue over crowd sizes like that's some big, huge accomplishment. The British right wing is outraged because the UK is still taking refugees despite the pro Brexit Tories winning. God, I'm so. Every time I hear about them and Brexit, I just want to vomit. They really let that decide that last election. Like when I read the Labour manifesto, it was just so beautiful and addressing of all these different societal ills, and people will really stake an entire election on one issue. It's just like how you have all these African Americans that went to jail because of the '90s crime bill, and they're voting for the person who wrote it. There's just it's really like that's why I said in the Twilight Zone. Spain just went into lockdown. Well, thank you for revealing that. Now, somebody needs to make a map of all the countries that like what their the effects of this virus have been on them. Trump tested negative for the novel. Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of surprising because he theoretically would be in contact with a lot of people. Symptom free. Yeah, they better keep him away from others. What is Vox Party saying about the lock? Oh, thought you were asking me. I'll just hush. Didn't they do the same thing to the what is that? ABC. They have a news show where they have people all in the background in the crowd every time, and they canceled that because well they didn't cancel the show, but they canceled the crowd because of this virus. I remember one of the co-hosts was like, "We miss you guys so much." Like, yeah, not enough to get a virus. Looking directly at it. Incorrect user. What? And I'm trying to click this thing and it's acting ridiculous. I'm just reporting as I'm seeing. Oh, I said thank you. I don't know what else you want me to do. I said that I appreciated it. What's my next form of expressing gratitude? Now Bill Maher will have one day that he can't tell us that Sanders should drop out. Yeah, we can finally stop hearing that stupid thing. It's really crazy how you can have. I mean, like, what we still have 40% of the contest to go, and they're just like, yeah, there's no chance. Just get out, go, leave, vanish. And Florida really is a frustrating place. But when he does lose it on Tuesday, it's not going to be because of some interview, because that is a conservative Democrat state. Like Mississippi and Missouri, well, Mississippi is just a bunch of dumb people. That's why Biden got 80% of the vote. Anytime someone gets 80% of the vote, that's like that communist hive mind thought. Because really, it should max at maybe 60 or 70. 80%, like with my Congress person, they got 80% in the last election. That's not because they're some wonderful champion of single payer and the Green New Deal and ending home. No, it's all about being in a Democratic district and only one Democrat on the ballot against a Republican. Everybody respond to what I said. 100 cases as of today. It's 150,000. All of the right wing exiles from Hispanic nations who are in Florida are lockstep with Stopping Sanders from winning at all costs. I wouldn't put it past them. They definitely seem coordinated. But again, all of this is happening because his team went in with this idea that they could get 30% of the vote in each state, and instead they're getting creamed because all of the right wing members of their party are ganging up together to back a senile clown that when if he wins the nomination, it's not going to be Biden versus Trump. It's going to be a couple of gropers. The cycle. Exiles who want the U.S. to invade Nicaragua and Venezuela. Yeah, I'm so sick of seeing the clowns who. But Maduro is bad. But Maduro is bad. But Maduro is bad. It's like, yes, wonderful foreign country. Please tell us who our leader is. Please decide the president of the head of state for this other country. That's totally not a coup or some kind of attempt to influence the results somewhere else. It's not even a thing where they just say, "I'm endorsing this person." They were like, "Guaido is the actual president, the interim." No, he's not. He's the clown you guys propped up. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna become head of state from the was it the president of France? But like, yeah, Sanders is the actual president. Forget what happened or the actual nominee. Forget the primary results because I feel like it. Ireland just shut down schools and public services. Oh, where's Ruben? Where did he go? Where did he disappear to? Esther, what did you do with Ruben? And tell the truth. Oh, there he is. How is it affecting the yellow vet? Man, those are over. And idiot publicity events, those are over. They can't have 200 people together or they can't have some large gathering. You know, Jimmy said that on his show yesterday that they're probably doing this so that when they have the DNC and what is that, Milwaukee, they won't have people can't protest it because there's going to be too many people. Oh my God! Wow. Never mind. Yeah, you're me and you both, Ruben. I mean, again, you can only pay attention to so much stuff. It's just like this is a worldwide issue now, so I'm not too surprised. Oh, Ruben, I was going to ask you because sometimes we do talk about shows on here. What do you think of Young Justice? Oh, there's that envoy at last. He shows up, says hi, has this big entrance. We get all worried about his health, and then he vanishes. And he calls himself a team player. He's just an imposter. I want to talk about shows too. Stop leaving me out. Well, you can answer the question I asked Ruben. What do you think of Young Justice? Because I was trying to get his opinion, and I was going to say what my view of on that show is. Well, well, if Ruben wants to answer, he can answer. If he doesn't, I'll just give my position. Imagine I have like a little clock, a little timer. Well, Envoy, I didn't ask about that show. Matter of fact, let me delete that comment. It says nothing to do with my question. Imagine if I really did that. I was just like, your comment will disappear if it is not deemed necessary to what I am discussing. I never watched. I know a lot of people got upset when it got canceled. Then were excited for when Netflix brought it back, only to get horrified at what Netflix did with it. Okay, so with me, um, the first season of that show, I really, really like. Um, the only thing that sucks is that, see, when you watch it now, because it's all available online, you can easily, and on Netflix, all these other places, you can forget that it had, I think, the worst hiatuses I've ever seen of any TV show. I mean, season 1 literally took almost 2 years. Just hiatus, hiatus, hiatus. But, it was, I think a really enjoyable story. They just, because of the, time skip they have in season 2 and how they start to incorporate all these other characters, I just got so bored. Like, you put all these characters in this show after having a core cast of 6 people for the first season, and then the only one of them out of the second season's group that really gets any kind of focus is Blue Beetle, who I don't even like. So, you know, I just like, yeah, I'm good. No, no, thank you. I didn't see any of season 3. I've heard some people say they like it. I'm good. I'm fine. I was gonna say I'm good over and over. It's my new catchphrase whenever somebody brings up that show. You should watch Young Justice. I'm good. I've been there, done that. But it did have a really horrible cliffhanger ending before they brought it back. Oh, what was it? The Green Lantern movie was that terrible? No, Ruben. It's because look, we don't. Oh, I take that back. Actually, I do know the Green Lantern show that aired with Young Justice got canceled because the toys from the movie didn't sell. Young Justice had merchandise failures of its own accord. So it had its own toys, those failed, or they weren't selling as well. So that was the reason. I still would have rather they brought back that Green Lantern show. That was a cool show. It had a little itty bitty cast. Everybody got development. It was perfect. I have never been that surprised by a single American cartoon before. Like when I saw the pilot, the first couple clips they aired of it, I think that was in 2010. I was like, yeah, whatever. It's just some crap they're putting together for the movie. They completely shocked me. Man, there's some alternate universe where that movie never existed. We got like 4 or 5 seasons of that show. Let's see, what was the okay, I already read that. Oh, people just waste stuff all the time. That's what they do. Let me see here. Where did what do you think about the new show? I haven't seen it. Well, I brought that one up specifically because I've never seen one of them get canceled and then brought back. That happened with Family Guy, obviously, but you get my point that it's not something that happens with superhero cartoons ever, other than that one. But yeah, I know I remember the reason that both of them got canceled. It's like, wow, you guys are gonna give me two cliffhanger endings as the final episodes of these shows. Okay. You probably won't like it because it's an episodic comedy show. Well, I mean, I've liked that sometimes. It just depends what the comedy is like. So I'll probably maybe I'll give it a try. I don't know. I'm leaning toward no, but you don't know what could happen. I just might get bored with it. So let me look at this show. For this thing. What else is here? Oh man, it looks like Envoy decided he's not going to type anything anymore. It was like I haven't even seen that show. So all right, that's fine. But he's mad that you haven't seen that. It's all right. What else is here? Sorry, there's this thing that's occurring outside. I'm just so then go eat. No one's forcing you to not. You know you can eat while watching, right? You can put the thing on the side. Presumably you're on a computer, and then as you're watching it, do this. Hey, right before I started streaming, I was actually thinking of eating while streaming. I was just so hungry that I decided I'll do it afterward. DC also had that Batman show airing along with the Green Lantern and Young Justice, but people did not like it. Yeah, the one where they used the obscure villains, and after the Aora shooting at the Dark Knight Rises premiere, they changed the weapons to be less realistic. I just heard that it gets like the season finale showed that it had potential, and then they just kind of were like, "Yeah, we're scrapping this." They gave him a sidekick that he never had before, and then had Alfred with guns. Like, what the hell? Instead of giving me another season of Green Lantern, you guys give me this, really? We get all these Batman cartoons. We can't get one Flash cartoon. It's like, no, no, no. He has a Netflix show. Yeah, but if they're doing a live action show, they have a budget, which and the constraints of reality, unfortunately, do not allow for them to do the kind of creative things they could do if they had CGI or some other form of animation. But again, people are less interested in the story and more so in the visuals, so that's why they go for things like that. It all adds up together. That's why when you talk about doing new Dragon Ball stuff, it's just who's gonna transform? Who's the strongest? See what else is here. I just keep saying that. See what else is here. Just scrolling, typing all kind of stuff. Yeah, it's really it's such a bad sign when fans of some work don't even care about the actual way it is. That show turned an evil serial killer. Oh, wow. Well, I mean, that's kind of the reason why I get annoyed with Carnage now because none of the cartoons or really any of the mediums he's been in outside of the comics have really played up the fact that he's a serial killer because that's supposed to be the creepy thing that you have a murderer with something that can make them murder more people, and they just kind of threw that into the wayside. Like in the '90s show, he would make the axe and he can't cut anybody; it's just there for display, basically. Yeah, I remember Pig. That was one of the villains they highlighted because that show's thing was that, "Oh, we're using obscure characters and we're gonna get their names out there." Yeah. That was because they saw how much Teen Titans blew up the name recognition for all of the cast except for Robin, so they were like, "Oh, yeah, we can try that again." And it didn't work for 'em. It was a good attempt, I guess. They gave all the effort they could. Oh my god, CGI costs so much money, then just draw the thing. Watch the scene from the Spider-Man cartoon where he is chasing after Shocker. You mean from the alien costume part 2? I even remember the episode's name. You mean from that? Where he has the black suit on? Shocker! And you should not have said from the Spider-Man cartoon. There's a whole bunch of Spider-Man cartoons. Now, if you had said, watch the scene where he's chasing after Electro, then I would know you weren't talking about the '90s one because Electro wasn't in that. Or rather, he was, but it's all the way toward the end. It was him and Sandman they kept out because they were trying to do a movie and that fell through the cracks. But the end result was those two characters, for the most part, were in that show. Yeah, that show had so many restrictions. They couldn't say kill. They couldn't have realistic guns. Spider-Man couldn't throw a punch. It's just, oh my god. Yeah, they used Hydra Man in place of Sandman. You know, that's the same thing with Spectacular, where they couldn't use Kingpin because he was at that point more associated with Daredevil, so they used what was that, Tombstone or Hammerhead, one of those two. I think yeah, it was Tombstone they used as the like mafia type character, calling the shots and doing all the stuff behind the scenes. That show really got canceled for a stupid movie, man. I tell you, movies are just like a curse on the world. They kill everything. Jesus Christ. I don't know if you can hear that. Let me go and look on this thing. Because if you can, I apologize. I'm sorry. I found this picture of Biden where he looks like, well, it doesn't he kind of have it in the face a little bit? Like, couldn't you imagine him with red hair? It was Tombstone. Then he gets replaced by Norman Osborn. But then the show got canceled after that. Yeah, and they were gonna have Scorpion and Carnage in season 3, and they even had Carnage in there without transforming yet as foreshadowing. There's a whole bunch of stuff that show had potential to do, and they just ruined it. So it's just more stuff that sucks, that was destroyed. Whew. See here. Ruben just took over the chat. Envoy gave up. Astro gave up. Everybody just threw in the towel. He was like, "I'm not even gonna bother writing a comment." No, you're over there trying to diagnose yourself. You're like, "Do I have a shortness of breath? Am I coughing?" No, I know what you were actually doing. You were doing a self-diagnosis. You were trying to turn into Doctro. I look tired there myself. Well, it's because I mentioned at the beginning of the stream I went for what was that, like a 2 3 hour walk. So that's the reason for that. I just found out if you were a smoker, you're at risk. So I'm in trouble. But I thought people had a higher chance of dying if they were in their 60s and above that. I could have sworn that was the case. Yeah, that'd be funny if this was like some new format that I just like, instead of having my whole thing destroyed, this was some new format I picked out. It's like I'm just lounging around, just waiting to hear and read what you're writing. Hear what you're writing. That doesn't make any sense, but you get the point. This is like a ghetto version of the Today Show or something, or of Oprah or whatever. Yeah, but apparently it's a bunch of stuff that puts you at risk. Oh, I hope you're not at risk. Everybody thinks they're at risk. If I found out I was at risk tomorrow, I was like, well, at least something's going to put me out of my misery. No more applying to dozens of jobs that don't say anything back. No more talking to dozens of chicks. that don't reciprocate. No more waiting multiple months for voice actors to record a little bit of stuff. That'll be pretty perfect. But Astro socialism doesn't work. I mean, everybody hates Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security, right? I don't even know why Astro thinks single payer can work. It's not like Sweden and Denmark have it or Finland. It's not like the US is the only major country that doesn't guarantee health care. None of those things turn out to be the case. Supposedly, China is close to a vaccine, but a US company is fighting them on it because China would give it to the world for free and they want to make the money. Say, we are so evil. We treat our own citizens like trash. We start conflicts with people who don't even bother us. Just straight trash, man. Capitalism is so bad. Capitalism's great. Isn't that right, Ruben? US pharma company Gilead is an illegal battle to the night. China, the Chinese government gets access to the vaccine because China would ship it to the to the global south for free. Why'd you mess up the story? You have me looking dumb on my own stream. Everybody's gonna cut that clip out and say that, oh, he was spreading misinformation. He's the new Alex Jones. And I'm gonna get banned on every website and accuse the what do you call it, the water of turning frogs gay. Israel is working on a vaccine, and some random company in Texas supposedly made one too. We'll see how effective those are. I doubt they will be, but we might get a surprise. And my arm is just such a the thing has been so abused. All jokes aside, do you think these are chemicals that have there are chemicals that have no. I do subscribe to the belief that it's something like I just don't think someone wakes up one day and they're like, I will now suddenly like the other gender unless they always had the potential to do that but just weren't interested. Again, I don't claim to be some expert on this stuff. I'm just saying I would lean toward one more than the other. All right, well then I guess they do. I don't know. Astro was objecting to my analysis. The water did turn the frogs gay. That was all correct. Hey, she's gonna write 17 comments breaking down sexuality. Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna object like another person and spam my comment section. And then when I say I don't want to debate, just keep typing. And I'm always asking, why do you say that? He wants an explanation. Okay, you better explain this to me. She's like, will do. Do you guys know that the acid rain epidemic? You guys know about the acid rain epidemic from a few decades ago? Let me type it in. Only acid I remember that has anything to do with rain is Acid Storm from Transformers. That green star screen. Let's see here. Just typed in acid rain epidemic. Uh, what decade was this? Because homosexuality has existed long before many chemicals one might propose can cause changes in sexuality. Remember, Gore Vidal thought that everyone has the potential to be bisexual. It was like I was just reading that yesterday, and I was like, you really think someone's just gonna wake up and just decide? Like, this is weird. People question everything. They get all debating all kind of stuff. It doesn't really make much sense to me, but it is what it is. I don't remember it was either the 80s or 90s. Just type acid rain. No, I did see an article in the New York Times from the year 90 where they were talking about the investigation they were going to look into. But that's why I thought that it might have been the 80s when you were saying that there was a decade where that happened. Oh, an acid cloud over the Midwest in 86. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find something. All right, I'll look for it later. I'm not gonna break my arm searching far and wide. But I wouldn't be surprised there are chemicals that may affect hormonal development and sexual desire. But then again, who knows? Oh man, now Envoy's turning into what do you call it? A scientist. He's gonna take us a convoy of sexuality. Well, I'm tired of hearing that word as described toward me, so that's probably where my pronunciation of it comes from. I'm sure the chemicals that can make you grow a third tit. Hey, would you want one of those? Just exist independent of that. Yeah, I would conclude the same thing, but would you want a third one of those? The more the merrier, or is 3 a crowd? It's funny you enunciated the like I said, I'm so sick of these people saying this word. I never thought I'd see the day where the main candidates for who is gay are people that have approached the opposite sex over and over again. That is crazy as hell. But then again, I'm the same one who's got all the voice actors that he gives months to record stuff acting stupid enough to not write an email back. So it makes sense in its own sick, twisted way. All the dumb stuff adds up. It's like if one exists, don't be surprised by the other. I just feel like one day I'm just gonna wake up and someone's gonna accuse me of, I don't know, molesting them through the computer or something. Just that's how ridiculous this stuff has gotten. But yeah, thank you for checking us. It might be close to time for bed. It's 7:30 over here. I don't know what time you go to sleep, but I was actually about to call the night anyway. Ma'am, you can do whatever you want. No one has any jurisdiction over what anyone else does. Ruben's gonna go on Twitter and be insulted by some vote blue no matter who people. And then Envoy is gonna eat some more spaghetti. His wife is gonna say he's gained a few pounds. He's gonna say she gained a few more levels of obnoxiousness, and they're gonna argue back and forth over who gets custody of the computers and other devices. And then they'll be dragged into divorce court by some point, or they'll be dragged into some other legal settlement by the end of the year. But yeah, any last things left to say? Because I do want to wrap this up. Because all the little stuff going on. This is usually when I conclude anyway. I didn't even say I was asking you. Did you? I was asking Ruben. Do you have anything left to say? If he had any final comments, statements, opinions, remarks, quips. All right. What about Envoy? Watch him not type anything for like an hour. It's like, oh, somebody wanted me to say what else I wanted to say. Oh, I forgot. He's just gonna sit there, just like in a daze. I can just picture him on his computer. Someone wants me to type something? Oh, mm. All right, no further comments. All right, well, I'll let Envoy talk to himself then. So thanks for showing up, and have a good rest of your evening. See you later. I'll stream tomorrow as well, by the way, at some point. That's not specified.